what's up? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Sony A7IV. Well, I have been a Sony user from past 6 years. Earlier, I was using the Sony A7IV, which was a crop sensor mirrorless camera, and most of the videos on this channel have been shot on that camera. But with time, equipment upgrades becomes necessary to meet the quality content standards. So I have finally purchased the Sony A7IV, and in this video, I'll be reviewing this full frame ultimate camera. So without any further ado, let's get started.
The Sony A7IV is designed to be very powerful yet a very compact camera that features everything a modern day camera user needs. It weighs somewhere around 658 grams including the battery, and it feels pretty light. The body is made up of magnesium alloy and is suitable to use in rainy conditions. To reduce the contact of dust and the sensor, Sony has added a protective door which, once enabled from the settings, appears automatically once you remove the lens. This time Sony has made the grip even more deeper so that users have a better hold, and the Sony A7IV also features the same old 3 inches vari-angle LCD touchscreen, which makes shooting so much easier, especially when shooting vertically and when talking directly into the camera. At the heart of the A7IV, we have a new 33 megapixel BCI CMOS sensor. This represents a move away from the 24 megapixel chip used by the A7 III and its immediate Panasonic and Nikon rivals. Given that BCI sensors are already widely used in the current generation of cameras, we are not expecting huge leaps forward in image quality. A slight uptick in detail and comparable low light performance is the most likely thing we can expect in terms of image quality. In terms of autofocus, the improvements over the A7 III should be fairly significant. The A7 III could detect human eyes, but it couldn't seamlessly and dependably switch between eye, face and body tracking. If you set the camera to focus on a person, the A7IV does exactly this and has modes that can detect and more accurately track animals, including birds, dogs and cats. For the first time, these animal detection capabilities extend to the camera's video mode as well. In addition, even with subjects the camera hasn't been trained to recognize, the A7IV uses pattern detection, subject color and brightness to help it stay focused on the subject you selected. After autofocus, the biggest area of improvement is in terms of video capability. The A7 III was the first A7 model to offer 4K capture. Its implementation was pretty good for early 2018 with oversampled 24p capture from the full width of its sensor, but a crop required for 30p shooting. All footage was captured in 8-bit precision at relatively modest bit rates. The A7IV moves things forward considerably, adding 10-bit capture to increase the processing flexibility of log footage and to allow full hybrid log gamma capture for playback on HDR TVs. It also gains the ability to shoot 4K 60p for action capture or slow-mo work, but this requires a crop to APS-C Super 35 dimensions. This footage comes from a 4.6K region. There are also options to use H.265 compression and apply the S-Cinetone color profile. IAF and the improved tracking system are now available in video mode, which should substantially increase the degree to which you can depend on autofocus staying on your chosen subject. As in still shooting mode, the camera has been trained to recognize humans, animals and birds. The 33 megapixel sensor enables the camera to shoot stills in high 10-bit with 422 chroma. You can shoot in RAW and JPEG, and this time the camera is also enabled to shoot in high format, which is effective for reproducing gradations of sky where the tones tend to change smoothly. The Sony A7IV is also enabled to shoot slow motion and time lapse using the SNQ mode at 4K 60p 10-bit 422, and you can do slow motion in S-Log3 as well. Upcoming are some videos and photo samples shot from the Sony A7IV using the 24-70mm f4 lens. For most of you who don't know what's 422, it means that for each 4x2 pixel grid, 2 color pixels are recorded from the first row as well as 2 from the second row. This results in much cleaner footage for things like green screening. The color around edges is more defined. Earlier at 8-bit we used to shoot in 4:0, but now with 10-bit we have the choice to either shoot in 4:2 or 4:0. The Sony A7IV is designed to be one of the most user-friendly full-frame camera in the Sony Alpha lineup. You can customize each and every button according to your will through settings. I have already assigned functions to the custom buttons, which you can do by going to settings, then under setup dial customize, and you can customize these buttons for photos and videos separately. Sony A7IV also features an unmarked lockable dial which can be repurposed if you don't shoot in a manner that requires exposure compensation. The A7IV still offers twin card slots, both accept UHS 2 SD cards, with the upper one also able to take one of Sony's small CF Express Type A cards, which can maintain much faster write speeds than the fastest SD cards. To shoot in HSI formats, you have to have a CF Express or a V90 SD card. There is a full-size Type A HDMI port, a 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port, a micro USB port, a microphone and a headphone port. Sony A7IV comes with an OLED viewfinder which has a very good dynamic range. The only problem is that if you have not kept your display straight, if it's slightly tilted upward or downward, you cannot switch the viewfinder, which is inconvenient, but this can be easily fixed by creating a shortcut for the viewfinder. I have assigned the viewfinder on my down key, and when I press it, the camera switches to the viewfinder, and pressing it again switches it to the display. Sony A7IV has now gained the improved menus and expanded touchscreen utilization, which was first seen in the A7S3. The menus now have their section tabs down the left hand side of the screen, which makes navigation easier, and everything in the menu is touch sensitive, which minimizes the dial usage. The arrangement differs from the previous Sony cameras, but the underlying relationship between settings remain the same. So it shouldn't take too long to familiarize yourself with the new system if you are an existing Sony user. The A7IV uses the same NP-FZ100 battery as the A7 III and other more recent Sony cameras. It's a usefully hefty unit that, when combined with the relatively modest viewfinder resolutions, lets the A7IV achieve a CIPA battery life rating of 580 shots per charge using the rear screen and 520 shots per charge using the electronic viewfinder. As you might expect of a new camera, the A7IV can be either charged or powered over its USB-C socket. Overall, I got a battery life of 8 hours for stills and 3 hours for 4K S-Log video. I would recommend to purchase a second battery if you are into mainly video. The camera did get hot while shooting a 4K video on S-Log 3, but currently I am at an older software version, which can be a factor for the heating. I would get the software update done and cover the heating aspect of this camera properly in a dedicated video. I have also experienced a weird error on this camera that when it gets hot, the dial from which we can switch between video, photo and SNQ, it just stops working, which can be a bug for which I will be going to the service center. Well, it is advised to shoot while taking out the screen since the cooling element is located right behind the screen, and if you have just purchased this camera, you need to change the power setting to high from standard, which has significantly reduced the heating issues on this camera. The Sony A7IV is enabled with 5 GHz Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which makes the file transfer so much easier and convenient. You can connect your A7IV to your smartphone via the Imaging Edge mobile software, and then you can also remotely control your camera and click photos and videos. The camera also has a constant smartphone connect feature that helps the camera to automatically connect with the last connected smartphone using Bluetooth. The camera also has wireless tethering, and you can also use the camera as a webcam via USB. To conclude, I would like to say that the A7IV is an all-round capable camera supporting the photographer in almost any situation. Its video capabilities live up to a similar standard, making it a hugely flexible imaging tool. Its extreme levels of customization can be daunting, but its powerful autofocus system means it can be a very simple camera to use.
So if you ask me why I went for the Sony A7IV over the Sony A7S III, obviously because of the 33 megapixel sensor on the A7IV, since I wanted more details in my photos as well as in my videos. And the 1.5x crop on the 4K 60p is something that you can easily compensate with a lens. But more on this in a different video where I will be comparing the Sony A7 IV with the Sony A7S III. To watch that video, do subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon. Before going, a big shout out to Xiaumit Productions for letting me shoot in their studios. If you want to get some professional photo shoots and advertising work done, then their contact and Instagram handle would be linked down in the description so you can contact them. With that being said, this is Shaumitseth signing off. Peace.